What is up, everybody? It's the season of the Gong, episode 2. What's happening, Biscuits?
What's up, brother?
What's happening, man? Let's give him one of these. You guys are all set here on February 17th, 2026. What'd you guys, I guess I'll pass it over to Biscuits, but what'd you think of that lead-in, the little teaser to this episode and where things are at between you and...
Well, it's a bridge too far on their part. I mean, my goodness, like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that's the last straw, I guess. You know what I mean? The gloves have got to come off at this point. I mean,
it's public. Both sides know that there is a war going on and it's engaged. It has gone to the next level. So, Biscuits is, you're letting them know that it's on, bitches.
It's just gonna be a matter of escalation at this point, I guess. But I've got a sneaking suspicion that that we're gonna get the best of it here when it's all said and done. I'm pretty excited to see where it goes, though.
Yeah,
it was an interesting glimpse into the world of beards and bow ties, though.
I know, man. I got a little glimpse of that shit. Here's the thing, though. I can't have a beard. I don't even know. Maybe a bow tie might show on yours. I don't know if we can find bow ties that we'd be able to stick into our beards, but like I got bow ties, but you can't see the damn things with a beard this big.
You have to get one of those gigantic ones that sticks out like this, this big. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm gonna have to look for one of those, or if anybody finds it, let me know so that I can go grab us some. But what's up?
Or you could just like weave in some decorations, some like trinkets and whatnot into your beard instead of a bow tie, maybe.
Right. Yes. Prayers for Sal Lyons. Yes. Going through some tough times, and I've got some of you that are in the Telegram chat that have lost loved ones. Our hearts are with you. The community is here to support you, whatever you need. And people are going through some tough times. I get that too. That's why we do this. We kind of have a little bit of fun, but in all seriousness, we're creating community and we are here for one another. So prayers, absolutely, everybody. Keep Sal Lyons and everybody. They don't need to be named necessarily, but people are hurting right now, and we get that. So we're here for you. But we welcome you all here. The season of the Gong. We got the setup going, and we're rocking, and keeping it a little bit more consistent this season. But everybody's all ready to. Unless you have something else you wanted to say, man, we're ready to get rolling here with the old alphabet soup wheel.
Well, I'm just glad that it's warmed up and I'm back in orange. I'm trying to get comfortable with living life in this color.
And you're not going cloak style on this one, huh?
I'm not what? No.
You're not going to go cloak where you just disappear?
Yeah, no, I have to, you lose most of the heat that you lose from your head, they say. So I was trying to trap it all in. It was chilly.
Right.
I don't live in Florida because I deal with cold weather well. You know what I'm saying?
When I got a beard this big, I could do different like shapes and stuff to it as well. I need to find a beard specialist though. Like I love the lady that cuts my hair. She's like a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Like bit is an understatement. She's a conspiracy theorist, and we get to have a lot of great conversation. And she gets super stoked whenever my mom and I come in to get our haircuts. But she's not real experienced on the beard grooming. So,
well, I'll tell you what, I would never let someone who wasn't a conspiracy theorist near me with scissors.
Yeah.
So, although I say that, but I did get my hair cut, my beard trimmed by a Puerto Rican guy with a pyramid and a 32 tattooed on his throat before my last court appearance. And I talked to him the whole time about how I was having to go to court because the Freemasons ran the courts and they were all traitors and I wish I'd see them hang. And he was just sitting there like, okay, yeah. But I mean,
he was probably being careful because in case you're an undercover Fed.
Yeah, well, that's true. I guess that's true.
So a lot of those guys, they learn how to cut hair in the slammer
in prison. Yeah, of course.
Yep, he probably got that craft because that's one of the things that they did at the youth correctional facility that I was at.
Ironically,
a barber program.
Right where the Freemasons want him, and he's getting tattoos, in honor of the Freemasons on his throat and spending his time in prison. It's tragic, really.
All the kids wanted cell number 13 in the isolation unit that I worked in on often. So it's just funny how that stuff works. Life. Many people have many different paths. Everybody here is welcome. Like I always say, unless you're a Satanist and a satanic pedophile, all you motherfuckers can, you know what? In lieu of that,
let us begin.
Let us begin the season of the Gong, episode 2. And if you're new here, welcome. See if I can pull up the right wheel so that I don't mess that up, but I'm going to pull up the alphabet soup wheel. What do you got for us this time, Biscuits?
Well,
see if anybody finds anything that's missing this time, because last time we messed up and we didn't find any. Ooh, we got something a little special here on the H.
Yeah,
that looks a little scary. H,
well, you know, it's I've talked to you once about these little gimmicks, I guess you could say, for the wheel. One of them was the devil's advocate, where something comes up and in spite of the negative connotation of it, one of us has to give an argument in defense or in support of the questionable practice. So H is the first example of that.
That will be an interesting one. We'll see what we land on this time. Is these wheels have like almost a mind of their own, but sometimes they work out better than what could have been planned. Let's say that. But if you guys didn't notice the two characters that are in the wheel, if you haven't paid close enough attention to take a look at it, they resemble a couple cool cats, if you know what I mean. And it was kind of cool how that worked out. I still love that. All right, let's spin this bad boy and see what happens. No.
Oh man! Right into the Freemasons, right?
Jabulon.
You know what that is, right? This the Jabulon.
Okay, I've heard it.
It's the thing from that hokey Freemason ritual. You know, the weird. In Jabulon, there's no N. It's just Jabula. Well, oh yeah, there's no N on the board. Yeah, I deleted.
There's no XY.
Yes, there's no X because you should all delete X, and that's why. Yes.
So Jabulon, what the?
Yes. So I think it's primarily, you know, there's like somebody videotaped that weird Freemason ritual that they do. It's on Rumble. You remember we talked about it, where
they act out as if somebody.
Yes. The cringy thing where the guy's tied up and he's in the whatever, you know, that's like that ritual, I guess, is about Jabulon, which is sort of a portmanteau of three different words. The last one kind of a transliteration, but you know, the Jah is supposed to be representative of Yahweh, and then the Bul is supposed to be Baal, and On is supposed to be Osiris. So, you know, like you probably heard Dean talks about how it's like interchangeable, like these, you know, these sort of mythical creatures to the Freemasons and the mystery schools and stuff. Like the names are interchangeable. They kind of know what you mean if you say one. So J is for Jabulon, which I think is strictly, well, allegedly the Jabulon, which is like kind of a frog. You could look it up. It's like a weird deity, like a frog deity that the Freemasons worship. Some Nephilim trash, of course, but the thing is the Ordo Temple Orientis, I think, is the chapter.
On the screen here, what we're looking at when I look it up on the does sound like bouillon soup, Jabouillon soup. But check this out. This is freaking creepy. All right, let's grab one of these bad boys.
Yeah, this is the guy.
All right, why? It's got a frog, and then there's a man. What is that? Is that a freaking like?
Well, that's Osiris, right? Remember, you've got
right here on the left.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be a combination of Yahweh, Baal, and Osiris. That's what it represents, anyway. You know, it's like. But this is the type of cringe shit that these morons get up to, that they worship. I mean, these people like worship this crap. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. I had, I mean, I've probably heard of it, but some words just bloop, 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 go over my head, and I don't
Well,
spend
it's
much
like,
time on it. But now I think it's going to be stuck in there, and I'll probably see them everywhere I freaking look.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like these things are like weird and obscure, necessarily because they're all supposed to be secrets.
Yeah, that did look like King Charles.
Well, King Charles is a Nephilim worshiper and probably believes himself to be the Nephilim blood. I mean, they worship their own bloodlines because they are descended from fallen angels. So he would probably take that as a compliment. Or if that thing is if they make art of Jabulon with him in the, as an homage to him, I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
That's lovely, Margaret. I'm glad you have a step stool. Jabulon.
That's Jay.
Did we talk about? Did I bring up with you, or was that on a Booma stream? I want to have just a brief conversation because you brought up the Nephilim and stuff like that. Have you seen the movie The Cabin in the Woods? There was an older version and then a newer version.
Is that the one where there's like the underground mechanism where they do the rituals and stuff and feed these old gods?
The ancients. They call them the ancients. Yes, it's all like a government setup, and they lure like these people get lured into these places or whatever, and it always has to be 5 for some reason. There always has to be what's considered the virgin, and the whore has to die first.
Yeah, like the fool and the it's all it's tropes. It's like all these sort of alchemical or tarot or mystery school tropes that have got to be fulfilled in order to meet the specifications of these various rituals and maintain some détente with this cadre of gods that live beneath the earth and are waiting to be unsatisfied and come up and destroy the world, basically.
Right. Well, what if the truth is something along those lines? Like it really kind of like made me step back and say, like, we want truth. We want to know what the hell's going on. We want to know who's in charge. We want to know what the ultimate plan is and all that kind of stuff. Well, what if the truth of it is that they have to keep it secret and they have to perform these rituals unknowingly to the public to make it realistic, so it's not just drones and not just puppetry, because it's not going to satisfy these ancients.
Let me propose to you something that is slightly different, but that I think is incredibly more likely to be true.
Okay.
What if exactly what you described is in fact exactly what the Freemasons are actually working to create, whether it exists already or not? I think that this is exactly the type of world that Freemasons are trying to counterfeit. When I say that they're trying to counterfeit revelation, what I mean is that they're trying to counterfeit the stories of revelation in a way where they direct and control the events. And people follow along with religious devotion because it mirrors so closely the events that are laid out in the Bible. This is what I mean when I say they're trying to counterfeit revelation. And I think that if they were able to counterfeit a worldwide scenario like Cabin in the Woods, even if they manufactured the threat, if they were the ones that were in control of mitigating the threat by means of all of these rituals and stuff, that would be perfectly acceptable to them. And I think that I think that a lot of events that have occurred in the world have been, if not orchestrated for purposes similar to that, at the very least, when a certain type of crisis occurs, immediate reactions in infrastructure can be seen where they react in a way to integrate it into a religious way. Like this, you and Dean and I were talking about the Seawall ferry disaster in South Korea, where I think that it was the evidence is pretty clear that Park Geun-hye and the rest of her esoteric cultists, I mean, proven esoteric cultists, these people were absolutely outed unequivocally, publicly. Park Geun-hye and her assistant Choi Soon-sil, were outed as being absolute cultists. I mean, they were participating in rituals, and they performed a ritual, I think, in the Blue House while that ferry disaster was taking place. Rather than orchestrate rescue efforts, they just let it happen so that they could have a ritual. And I think they probably did the same thing when all of those people were getting crushed in that pavilion in South Korea.
Right.
So I think that happens a lot. I mean, I think that, they're ready to exploit any kind of organic crisis, if such a thing exists, where people are dying in real time, to treat it as though it's an occurrence that can be exploited ritually. I think they do.
Yeah. And then you have all the different religious takes or whatever, earthquakes and natural disasters can happen. And you have some preachers saying that it was because they were so full of sin and all this kind of stuff. So you have all kinds of stuff that goes out there. But then even stuff that, like, I keep thinking about it, and I don't want to get into this conversation too deep, but like when there was the Trump assassination, there was a flag that was above him, and it somehow got wrapped up in a way where it almost after the fact looked what could be interpreted as an angel. Now, for those people that believe that it was all fake for the purposes of making Trump look good, is that just a figment of our imaginations, creating things based on what they presented to us because they'd given us an idea?
Let me ask you again a different. Let me from a different perspective discuss the Trump assassination thing, because it's an interesting thing. Let me just ask you this. Thank you, Pamela. How many times, when no one hears about it and it's kept completely under wraps, how many times do you think a president would need to undergo failed assassination attempts without ever letting the public or anyone know, one way or the other, that it had even happened, before he was entitled to put on a spectacle where everyone sees that people are actively trying to assassinate him on a regular basis? I mean, do you follow what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that that's the case. I just assume that if people at least twice have actively, and, in one case, a bullet actually touched him. And in the other case, I guess this guy was in some place where he definitely shouldn't have been, prepared to take a shot at Trump. I guess my question is simply like, I presume that if they've taken two shots at him, they've probably taken a lot of different attempts with much more, let's say, asymmetrical means that we just don't hear about because they're not interested in giving anyone the ideas about how to asymmetrically attempt to kill President Trump. My question is just that, like, how many times does a clandestine and asymmetrical attempt have to be thwarted before he's allowed to just prove to everybody by some means that people are constantly trying to kill him? Is he ever allowed to put on such a spectacle when the entirety of his opposition fakes everything all the time, every day? I mean, okay, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, I bet it's well, my channel used to be more of a mixed bag. I had a lot of Trump supporters when I was coming away, like still believing in that kind of stuff. And if you're a Trump supporter, you're welcome here, and your point is, welcome to be addressed. I covered the Trump assassination as though it were real. I don't know what to think of it. Now, when I covered it, it was crazy to watch all of the different, what I would think of now as more like media operatives, even than the alternative, running their form of what they believed happened. Now, the mainstream always does that. Every single situation that is on a scale of that magnitude, they're always running stuff that doesn't make sense, in my opinion, from what I can tell.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I don't believe that was a real assassination attempt where he got shot in the ear. Okay. That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying I think that it was orchestrated as well to show everybody that people are trying to kill Donald Trump, which I think is probably absolutely true. I'm saying I don't know if it's like justifiable for a spectacle like that to be put on. I don't know. I mean, everything.
But 3 people got shot.
Did they?
One died.
Or so you say, so they say. But again, prove it. I don't have any proof. There's no proof that anything real ever happens. No one has proved that Charlie Kirk is dead. No one proved that he got shot. There's just some video that could be easily faked. Everything is easily faked. Blackmail is easily faked. Video is easily faked. There is no evidence. You and I have never...
When it comes to deciding whether or not somebody was, trying to do the right thing or a good thing, if you are orchestrating this as like a believer in Trump, but he has a system that's against him and all that kind of stuff, why would they traumatize thousands of people to get that point across?
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. It's an ethical dilemma of whether or not and I'm not arguing that everybody is good or that Trump is good. I'm saying everything has to be thought about from so many differing perspectives that it's like you can't have any sort of emotional attachment to any of them, or you're going to crash out. You're not going to be able to think about them correctly. And so I'm saying you have to consider that Trump has superposition, and you have to consider everyone that you're not absolutely sure about has superposition in that. And also, let me just address one thing real quick. This Sarah Michelle person, get your shit together. If the only person in the country that you can think of that should be shot is the current president of the United States, you are a retard. You should stop talking and start thinking about how many people in this country are on a daily basis not the president and also traitors and enemy combatants. It's a stupid thing to be saying. Just
what I think what she's saying is that they
no. I saw it. No. I saw what she said the first time. And she's literally, I know what she said. You put it up on the screen. It's right there.
I know. Well, there was other things, but when they cause mayhem like this that creates fear and anxiety, they're harvesting loosh. They, as in, I don't know, the demons and the fallen angels, whatever you want to say it is.
It's a trigger for me. It's just a stupid fucking thing to say. That's all. If you don't understand that it's a stupid thing to assert that someone should shoot the president again, it's, I mean, I don't know, whatever. The United States of America that I want to live in, the constitutional republic, is not a place where people will go around encouraging anyone to shoot the president. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm suggesting that I'm 100% certain that people have attempted. I'm talking about the president. It may be a pedophile right now. Maybe. That's your assertion. I'm saying that the office of the president of the United States is not a person that you should just casually be suggesting should be shot at. That's all. Oh my God. So again, this is what I'm talking about. This is the last time that you're ever going to get a response from me, Sarah Michelle. You're dead to me. Moving on.
But it's not only her, it's other people. Like there's an argument to be made, and that's what they're doing. That's all I'll say. It's interesting that you were kudos to Sarah for being able to trigger the biscuits. That's a hard thing to do. He's a tough one to get a little jab in or on, if you will.
Well, look, I'm trying to have a conversation here, and this type of commentary is annoying. I mean, it's the type of commentary that, whatever, I'm not going to address it anymore. It's a foolish fucking thing to say. Moving on. I'm saying that to your question, let me go back to that and answer it.
Okay.
As far as traumatizing people, look, the federal government, the entirety of it, it's possible that Trump is a traitor and a pedophile. It's possible that he's not. No one in this chat or anywhere in the country can convince me one way or the other. He has superposition because he's manufactured it by the FBI deletes evidence. I mean, this is how he's gotten it one way or the other, but he has it. Just accept it. I'm saying people traumatizing American citizens, the federal government has allowed itself to do this. Every federal employee is allowed to traumatize American citizens by various means, lying to them, psychological warfare, whatever it takes. These are all legal applications of federal authority. I'm not saying it's ethical. Indeed, it's quite unethical. almost everything that the federal government has done to the citizens of the United States, as long as I've been alive, has been fundamentally unethical, because it's been predicated on lies and treason, always. I'm simply saying, no, he can't. I can assure you.
Please tell Derek I'd love to do a show with that lying fool.
That guy would have a difficult chance. He would struggle proving to me that the sky was blue if we were inside a room with no windows. So,
you obviously haven't been on my channel. I have a whole section for Derek Johnson for you, so you should go check out that playlist that I've created for him. So he is a psychopath and doesn't deserve to even have a platform of any sort, in my opinion. But that was interesting.
I wanted to say specifically about situations like this, if you're going to try to think about them abstractly, from the perspective of evaluating an action that is taken in the midst of a psychological war, which I think everybody agrees that we're in. Is that correct? I mean, would you agree?
Nonstop psychological warfare.
Well, I'm saying there exists sort of beyond like the first layer of metacognitive complexity, these inherent rhetorical narratives. I mean, everything that happens, any particular topic or event or whatever, has inherent decision trees that just appear whenever something happens. Any news that you hear about has all of these possibilities that any interested parties or tangentially interested parties will begin to populate as though it's the truth. Organically, whenever people see videos of Charlie Kirk allegedly being shot in Utah, every possible truth behind it will have people that immediately glom onto it, that immediately say it was Israel, it was these guys, it was those guys, it was whoever. I mean, some of them are statistically more likely to be right, assuming the thing even happened in the first place, which I'm saying is, well,
that is, he doesn't even recognize me. He finally blocked me. That is well done.
I suppose
you should be honored.
I suppose if you're going to do something on Twitter, it may as well be that.
Yes. Trolling these fools on Twitter is a beautiful act of patriotism, in my opinion.
But I mean to say that these dichotomies that just form in the narrative because a thing has allegedly happened, themselves, the forming of them, the coalescing of people into different camps.
Coming for you, bro. I can hear the sirens.
The coalescing of people into different camps about what did or didn't happen and who is or isn't responsible. And then they report onto their various social media platforms to make their assertions. And then they argue about it. And then some assertions are overwhelmed by things that are just obviously more factually likely or true. And now that has given rise to people that are certain. People are sure of what happened to Charlie Kirk, or sure of what President Trump is or isn't guilty of. They're sure. But I'll tell you what, I've dealt with people for the last fucking 20 years or so that have been so sure about 9/11, that it was exactly what they said it was, that they would curse me for saying it was something different, or they were so sure about WikiLeaks, they're so sure about Hillary Clinton, they're so sure about Barack Obama, they're so sure. Everybody's always so fucking sure. And I'm saying, I don't think anybody is actually as sure as they claim to be. Whose microphone?
On Biscuits?
Mine's very sultry. Sultry.
Let me move it a little bit. Try that. All right, I'm done. I got set off on a rant.
Well,
I didn't want that to happen.
Right. And it doesn't happen very often. So in some ways, kudos to Sarah for being able to rile up the Biscuits a little bit. We needed to get a little extra baked on this biscuit for a little bit. You know?
I guess you're pretty sure that person is a real person.
I'm positive.
All right. Well, my apologies if it's a real person. I guess I misunderstood the statement. But
Yeah, I think it's just the argument that anytime they do these kinds of things like false flags and whatnot, they are harvesting the anxiety and the fear and the loosh of the people that are going through that psychological operation, even though people do die and often in these things. So.
Okay, but they could just do that some other way if that was the only point. I'm saying there has to be a strategic point to doing it specifically with the President of the United States. My God, why is that so hard to understand? If they were going to simply do that, then they would just, they would do it. They would, you know what I'm saying? There's a million other ways to do it that don't require you to involve him in that scale of fraud for no other reason than to just do sort of normal run-of-the-mill trauma harvesting. No, I'm saying strategically, there has to be some reason why it was a justified risk to fake that on TV. Because even if you fake it perfectly, you have to know that there's going to be a large portion of the population that are never going to believe it really happened. It's inevitable. Right. And you're going to face that regardless. So I'm saying there has to be, like people have said before, even on this channel, it's important to remember that nothing is ever done for a single reason. And if you're doing things for a single reason, you should probably be doing something better that serves more purposes, that's more efficient. So there was a lot more reasons for pretending that Donald Trump got shot in the ear on national TV. But I'm asking, the question I was trying to ask is like, does he deserve all of the goodwill that was associated with that event in exchange for presumably having survived so many assassination attempts that nobody knows about? I don't know the answer to it. I don't think that running psychological warfare operations of that sort, which do traumatize the American people, is anything that the federal government should be doing, but they're all allowed to do it. Of course, I also think that at the very least, everyone in the federal government up to J.D. Vance is a fucking traitor. So, my opinions about the federal government aren't great.
Let the gong cleanse. All it was,
I guess,
let it be.
I did overreact. I apologize.
There you go. You got an apology from the Biscuits. Now let's spin this fucking thing.
Sorry.
Oh, snap. Walking Dead.
It's a good thing.
Hey, now it's about as close as you can get without actually going over.
If we got Z, we'd never see Z again unless somebody wants to pay for a Z, because I don't have any more Zs to come up with after that one. It's going to go the way of X and Y.
So immediately, obviously, when I hear Walking Dead, I think of zombies.
I think of Congress. And that was
wishful thinking, but I think that is a beautiful.
Well, not to see, but this is what I mean. Not to me. Anybody in the federal government that has committed treason is Walking Dead. That's it.
I don't, but I would like to believe that there is still patriotism and that something could be done to restore. I don't even know. I don't know, but it would start with the Walking Dead, if it were to be politicians in that regard, to be not walking.
Well,
just the other part.
There's so many connotations of this, which is why I was up there. In answer to that question, I'm going to live in the Republic. You understand what I'm saying? I am going to get back to the constitutional Republic of the United States, one way or the other. And this is why I always say, like, that's why I'm wearing orange. You know what I mean? Because I understand what that probably means, but I won't accept anything else.
Right.
And that's it. You know?
that's how we should treat them. We should treat them as though we still have this thing that is called the Constitution and Republic. We should treat it that way, and they should be held accountable for even veering in any direction that says otherwise. It drives me nuts. Now I know the conversations, I've had juxtaposition on, and we've had many conversations about the various things that are actually going on in the world, the ways that people view countries and pedophiles in charge and all that kind of stuff. I get it. But that's what they've sold us, and that's what I do believe is, some of those documents that were created, that they say that this country was founded on, are still things that we should fight for, I think.
Of course, absolutely, 100%. But I also absolutely, and I think I think we're closer to it. I think we're closer to it than we have been. I don't think it's guaranteed that it will be restored, but we're in this weird period of civil consequence for a lot of things that 15 years ago, 10 years ago, even 2 years ago, people would not even have agreed existed, or you weren't even allowed to talk about on friggin' YouTube or whatever,
Right.
It's so we're in this paradigm where it seems like a lot of the corrupt infrastructure is being exposed, and everybody seems to be well, this is happening. The bad guys, the good guys, whatever. Which, obviously makes you nervous that it's a controlled type of exposure that's just a means to an end. And I accept that possibility. You know what I'm saying?
I feel your pain, Charlie. I feel your pain. He's a tough one. There's things I love about juxtaposition, but man,
he's a trip, man. But he doesn't make it easy on you to like him,
Man, he will hound people to stay in his, what does he call it, the peanut gallery. But I do like some of his arguments on some of these. I'm not saying he's even correct. Having a background in banking, it's an interesting one. However, when you talk about the Walking Dead and zombies and stuff like that, it also could just be that they're all freaking puppets. I think it's what's weird to me, in the sense that weird isn't strange, and I never expected this to be what happened. I expected, even if it wasn't going to be real, for them to bring Trump in and make him look maybe even like the Antichrist in a way. I thought that they would bring peace and all kinds of stuff, and it seems like the longer this Epstein saga thing goes on, the worse things look. Now, some people will argue, on the Q side and the Derek Johnson side. I've got a little video queued up that I'm going to watch party with y'all with Nino and Gene Deco, but they're saying that the 5G chess is being played, and they're getting the liberals to scream for the Epstein file release and all this kind of stuff, which implicates a lot of Democrats and the satanic side of that whole shebang. But I just see it as though humanity is crumbling if more patriots don't actually stand up and do the right things now.
Well, I think everyone's illusions about humanity are certainly crumbling. And people are going to have to adapt to that one way or the other. You know what I mean? People are going to have to do the pragmatic thing where they accept, hey, all those crazy people were maybe right. And there's real industrialized evil. And we got to acknowledge it and not turn away and really systemically address it. I hope that's true. I hope that's the case. Well, I agree with you. Too little, too late if you've known the whole time. But I suppose you have to. Well, I don't know. Listen, I get so frustrated with how people aren't awake. You know what I mean? It drives me insane. But I also wonder, you have to also appreciate that, in the normal day-to-day life. In the normal day-to-day lives of an American, there isn't a whole lot of action that you can take, even when that's one of the things that frustrates all of us. It's once you find out and you accept that it's all real, you still are kind of okay, well, what do I do with that? And you've got a lot of people lying to you about what to do with it all the time, right? Grifters and whatnot. So
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to me, even these lower level people, like I would even still consider, even though Nino's got Nino Rodriguez, a boxer, became podcaster, went viral because he made up. I mean, it was Bono Sabin probably in his ear saying that the military was breaking up pedo rings and taking down all of Hollywood and all that stuff. And yet here we are. That was 2020. We're 6 years later. And by all appearances, it seems there's still plenty of demons in Hollywood making movies and doing all the same things that they've always done. So whatever when I watch these guys continue to draw the numbers is where I was heading with this. And I know the numbers could be faked and inflated and all that stuff that we've discussed or whatever, but it still is. It does defeat me a little bit.
I understand. I'll tell you what frustrates me about the numbers is that when it's simply common knowledge that the numbers can be faked, why can't these platforms deal with it? You know what I mean? It's inconceivable to me that platforms like Truth Social, YouTube, Rumble, any of these platforms that are leveraging stuff like the Hive AI that's so effective that you can never even get a post up if it has, certain types of content in it. I mean, it never even will propagate. It's not even a chance. There's 0% chance that you could get these things posted on these various platforms. And yet those platforms cannot address the fact that so much of the traffic on their sites is just bots.
Right.
It's just crazy, right? And this was one of the reasons why I said immediately that Trump assassination was fake, because there's no way that they would ever let that happen unless they were going to let that happen. You know what I mean? There's no excuse for.
Yeah, it never would have, in my mind, the way that it even played out, the way you think about it. And they had all the stuff set up because they had Secret Service also for, I think it was Biden or Jill Biden or something was doing a talk somewhere else. So they had some of the Secret Service there. But the way that Butler was set up, even there was just no way that a professional, highest alleged grade of planning for protecting the leader of the free world and the normie mind, they would set it up and allow that to take place. What happened there? And
because you'd be talking about the Secret Service and all these police and everybody that would be involved in facilitating that happen. And you would also be simultaneously talking about Donald Trump literally relying on those people to keep him safe. I mean, it's so insane. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's crazy. And I'll have more on. Go ahead.
Who could possibly get elected president and say, well, I feel safe with the Secret Service? Meanwhile, I'm gonna take on the CIA. I mean, get real. You would be you'd be the dumbest person alive to get elected president and try to do something about the CIA while relying on the Secret Service to keep you from getting shot in the head. I mean, it would be insane.
He praised him afterwards. He said some things went wrong, but overall he said nice things. Nothing ever really came of that. So,
well, what else could you say? I mean,
when he went in his first term, he was screaming that he caught them all, and that included people that spied on his campaign and the judges that were doing fraudulent FISA warrants and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he was screaming that. And this term, it's like, oh, they're all doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job. It's like, what the fuck is going on, man? These people are traitors to this country. And if you're saying that, then I feel like you're a traitor to this country.
It's the Ars Democratica. It is Solomon building his temple with demons that are enslaved. I mean, this is the answer to the question, Straw Hat. It is Solomon building his temple with the labor of enslaved demons. And I'll say that confidently because what I'm telling you is that I think in his first term, he did catch them all. Because if you bothered to take a look, you can't help but catch them. I mean, I caught them all in his first term. I caught them all for the stolen election of 2020. I mean, I've caught them. You've caught them.
Right. The Illuminati game has caught a lot of them. Isn't that the Illuminati game has it? All the truth
catching them
about people.
Catching them is nothing. Catching them is nothing, dude. It's the Pokemon. You know what I mean? It's nothing to catch one. Just take a look. You know,
Right.
It's a simple thing to do to catch them. The problem with 2017 when Trump took office is that, hey, you've caught them all, but guess what? It's all of them, and those are all the people that can arrest anybody. So what are you going to do with them? Are you going to literally, Donald Trump, hire someone for, to go and arrest personally everybody in the federal government? And then what will you do with them then?
That's the question.
I always thought about the. I always thought about
what to do.
I thought about
trying to come up with ideas nonstop with community and taking any ideas that anybody freaking has, man.
Well, we're working on something, and I suspect that it's going to get leaked sooner than we would want, based on the fact that the CIA is looking into Allison's dreams. Maybe we'll just
kinetic, really a lot faster than we expected, right?
Yeah, we'll let it trickle out that way, I guess. But right. I think that as I was saying, we're in an interesting and weird sort of age of civil consequence, I think, and it's like the nascency of things being done about things that nobody's ever done anything about before. And I have a hope that if everybody keeps applying the right pressure, or if more and more people start applying the right pressure, there will, as I've said, there will at least have to be some changes to the narrative, If nothing else, bro, I want better lip service. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't even pretend like they're doing something that I like anymore.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I never would have expected the Trump to act this way. And they can say, people like in the Q movement and all that stuff, you can say that he's playing 5G chess and he's getting the liberals to say all this too. Well, there is a lot of MAGA and there's a lot of Trump supporters, me included, that are pretty much done with him. I'd love for him to somehow to redeem himself, but I don't even think it's possible at this point. And then there are the Sasha Riley things and stuff like that out there. I don't know.
Of course it's possible. The question of likelihood is, it's obviously it's possible. He could swoop in and be like, we're hanging everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's totally possible. Bro, there are a series of events that certainly could play out where I think Americans could become the most patriotic people on the planet. All of the pieces are still in place, and there's no real reason for them to be strategically, as far as I can tell, which is kind of like why I'm saying, like, something is off strategically. It seems to me like things are maybe better than they seem, but it's just so slow that you can't really be sure that it's not just worse than it seems,
You can't be sure what's really going on. It's making more people that are just turning them off. Like, we have a lot more Walking Dead out there, I think, because they're people are like, fuck all this shit. They don't want to listen to us. They don't want to listen to any of the talking heads. They're going to go watch gamers. They're going to go watch Netflix. They're just going to go fucking and watch and pretend that they can have their nice little, fantasies or whatever, that the world is not shit until it is unavoidable. I don't even know what that looks like. Some point maybe need to talk about the no-hide law. Some people really think that shit's going to happen.
Well, there's a lot of very influential portions of the population that's trying to make it happen. So it certainly is potentially possible. Why? This is what I mean. Like, the Dow is 50,000. Yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. Pam Bondi, she said two things that day that were a trip, right? Like, the first thing that she said was that, which was, I don't know how a person could seriously say that, Yep,
she said that over the, human trafficking. And then the other part of it was if we arrested all the people implicated in it, the whole government and everything would collapse. Society would collapse. Sounds great.
Well, yeah, totally. I just think that it's great that someone admitted that in Congress.
Right.
And because she said that, I thought about her saying the Dow is over 50,000 in a different context. I thought about it because she's saying to them, that should be the only thing that you care about. Why are you pretending that you care about this when you're all involved. Like if we arrested everybody who's in this, we'd arrest all of you. So why do you care about it? I mean, that was kind of like, that's an interesting perspective, because it's a crazy thing to go in there and just say, why are you asking me about human trafficking? The Dow is at 50,000. It's the most absurd shit to say if you're really saying this is what you should be caring about because it's more important in reality. But if you're saying, I have loads of proof that the only thing you actually care about in practice is the Dow being at 50,000. So why are you asking about anything else? I don't know. I mean, I just thought it was great that somebody in Congress said, if we arrested everybody involved in this global child trafficking ring, the entire federal government would basically be absent from work tomorrow.
Yeah, she just told the truth. Everybody of significance in high positions of power is implicated in Epstein.
Pam Bondi was the attorney general in Florida when Epstein got his first free pass. And, you know, she also famously got a lot of investment from Scientology billionaires, where she made promises to them that she was going to, it was like a Scientology panel on, or commission or coalition or something on human trafficking, on child sex trafficking, essentially. So they had some, you know, the Scientologists, which are obviously like, come on. I mean, these guys are in on it, obviously, like Scientology. The Church of Scientology is an absolute portal to hell. Just like, you know, it's like Freemasonry for atheists, I think. The hypocrisy and the travesty of an attorney general fundraising for the ostensible purpose of fighting human trafficking in the state where she let Jeffrey Epstein off with a slap on the wrist. And during her tenure, after that meeting with all of those Scientologists where she got millions of dollars from them, she never prosecuted, I think, more than 2 child sex, like predator or trafficking cases in the state of Florida before her career was over. So, I mean, she's not got the best track record on dealing with those people.
Right. Pam Bondi is, I can't even believe she got chosen for that job, but it is what it is. Anyways.
Can you believe she got...
I mean, Matt Gaetz, when you said Matt Gaetz, I was just like, oh, lordy lord. That's when I was still on the fence with Trump. I was like, are you retarded?
They're all demons. But there's no one else that is qualified to work in the federal government in the United States except for people that are fucking demons.
They won't allow anybody else, apparently.
Well, they're just not qualified. But I mean, doesn't that make sense? Because the federal government has been completely infiltrated by esoteric cultists that worship demons. So it makes sense that their hiring practices would trend decade after decade towards exclusively hiring, demon-friendly people. It's why you have, I mean, look at the last like 8 years, dude. There's people. I mean, whatever. Obvious demon.
I hear you, man. Victimless crime.
Is this a thing that exists? I hear this phrase thrown around, you hear this phrase, like, can you name one?
Victimless crime.
Right.
I mean, like a crime that would be prosecuted in the court system of America or what?
Well, I'm just saying, like, I saw someone that typed this phrase. I hear this phrase in conversation from time to time, like, and the phrase itself I find to be, I mean, it's oxymoronic, you know what I mean? Like, if there's no victim, there's no crime, right? Right. So, I mean, I honestly believe that this type of slippery slope thing is what's led the federal government and all these corporations and stuff to the place that they are, because, like, I think it's often perceived if people are in some business, pharmaceuticals, for example. Right.
I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah. Like in pharmaceuticals, for example, if you're making money hand over fist, but the products that you're making are not, yeah, right, exactly.
That could parlay right into what we were talking about with Epstein, and well, now we can bring in Ghislaine, I guess, but
yeah,
the Pam Bondi in Congress saying that apparently there's no victims because they can't prosecute anybody. What the heck, man?
Well, based on all the weird conversations in the Jeffrey Epstein emails about some strange type of jerky that seems incomprehensible, I suspect that the victims are being pretty comprehensively destroyed.
Yeah, I would think that a lot of the victims that actually have anything on them are being destroyed. There's victims every day. I think there's new ones being brought in all the time, but I didn't get into what all the jerky thing was, but everybody's making it out. It's pretty bad, but I mean, like, bro, like, were you around, like, wherever was everybody at Pizzagate and fucking?
Yeah,
like,
I didn't. I'm only. I saw.
Like,
yeah,
where the fuck
it's
you guys
old
been?
news. Exactly, it's old news. This is what I mean. See, I'm not really. I haven't.
Like, we can go back to the Finder's Cole, and you go back to Satanic Panic that they fucking made look like stupid.
Yeah, the Dutroux affair was far more heinous than the stuff that has been released about Jeffrey Epstein. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. This was just in Belgium rather than in the United States or off the coast of the United States. But it's the same thing. I mean, these people are cannibals. And apparently it's fucking shocking to people. Like, apparently it's news. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
To me, it's so unremarkable. It's just like, yes, I know. I mean, I know.
It was funny because I mean, I haven't been feeling all that great, and I called the doctor, and I thought maybe it was something to do with one of these medications that they put me on for my freaking thyroid. Anyways, I go into the doctor because they were like, "Oh, do you want to come and see the doctor that day?" I was like, "Oh shit, you guys can get me in." Okay, I guess so. I go in there, man. I don't know if this nurse that's one of the nurses in there did ask for my Rumble channel at one point because I was talking to her about a bunch of stuff, and I just expected, she's never gonna watch it. So I don't know if you're watching, but she asked me, "So anything big in the news today?" And I was like, "What, do you got something?" And she's like, "Well, I'm just asking." She's like, and I was like, because there's always something big going on. And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff." And then right before I could say anything, she's like, "Do you really think they're eating babies?" And I was like, "Yes, I fucking do think they're eating babies."
I'm certain of it, like, and have been for a long time. So it's just,
where have people been? But this is the nurse of the freaking doctor's office asking me this, and I'm like, I hope it's getting out to more people, because if people fucking understood and you know, I am fighting against the psyop that became QAnon or Q or whatever. Arguments to be made about to start out and what the purpose is and intention was in the beginning. Okay, we can have that conversation. It did wake up a lot of people, and when I woke up, it was partially because of that movement. And we did learn a lot of truths. Now you see guys like Nino and Gene Decode and stuff out there still talking about saving the children, when they are the new layer of protection, just like the mainstream media protected Jeffrey Epstein all those years. Now this is a new layer of protection, and they will tell you some truths, but they will never help you actually accomplish anything, because everything is, oh, the military's doing this, oh, the white hats are doing this. But if they got out to more people, where it became a common fucking question all the fucking time, you go to the grocery store, you go to the doctor, you go all the places, and they're like, "Are they really eating babies?" They're eating babies. Yes, they have all that they could ever imagine, anything the sick human mind can think of. When money's not a problem and law doesn't matter to you, Pam Bondi just admitted it. Law doesn't matter to these people. They can get away with it. There was some woman, I don't even know who she is. She was on some freaking show or some freaking stage, and she said that everybody that's been named in the Epstein files in the group that I run with, they're proud of it, because it means you weren't a loser. It means you were at the parties. It means you were at the hot spot. And they're just saying it in our faces.
You know, it's crazy. Well, I mean, Chrissy Teigen posted about eating babies on Twitter or on Instagram, and literally just said unequivocally and overtly, I'm going to go eat this baby delicious. I mean, it's like, I don't,
Right.
So now people are like, oh my gosh, do you think they're eating people? Do you mean like they said they were? Yeah, I guess I believe them. I mean, I don't like, I guess I believe them now, all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Because I saw some fucking email finally about beef jerky. Now like, this is what's amazing is what it takes to get people to just say, oh shit, I guess I believe it. When I'm thinking like, there's been mountains of better evidence about all of these same people decades ago. You know what I mean? Much more clear about Hillary Clinton in 2012 that she was a cannibal. and people are like, no, just it's inconceivable or whatever. And now that it is conceivable, my fear is that people aren't going to backtrack and say, okay, well, everybody that I ever said was crazy whenever they told me such and such was a cannibal, in fact, was actually right. And so now I got to reconsider everything I've been told by that type of people. And it's like, you could see where they might start to cascade.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just crash out. I mean, I don't think these people are really.
It's ancient freaking practices that are not new. The things that they were doing back in the day, just openly, like the rulers freaking drink blood and would sacrifice people. There was people would willingly, in some cultures, like they even depicted in some of the legends of the Vikings, like would willingly like be proud to be the sacrifice to go into this next war against whatever it was that they were going to go raid and war and land that they were going to defend and all that kind of stuff. But this stuff is like, just like in the music industry where you think all these guys are tough and they're like all about the ladies and stuff like that with the Diddy thing and all that kind of stuff, man, they take their masculinity from them by anally raping them. You think these people think that they like take on just like the Luge idea earlier on with the energy thing, but this is like an actual consumption of human flesh, and they think that they're gaining from this. No, maybe they are in some kind of black magic kind of way. I don't freaking know, or maybe they're made of something else. But
they get confirmation. They get confirmation bias manufactured regardless of whether the quote unquote magic works. You know what I mean? Because once you start entering into that cult, you get rewarded, and it's like, I assume for people like Chrissy Teigen, it's probably just no big deal because she doesn't care about those babies. Maybe they taste good to her, and she's like, hey man, I level up every time I eat a baby, so I'm just going to eat babies all the time, and it's the coolest thing in the world. And there's apparently no consequence for it. I mean, she's like still doing TV shows,
Right. They're still like a big thing, and it's all out there and it's documented, and people keep showing it. They keep showing James Alefantis's Instagram before he took it down and made it private, and all the disgusting stuff that was going on there at Comet Ping Pong. It's just
and beyond that, I think it's important to note that there's literally no reason for Chrissy Teigen to be famous other than that, because she is fucking gross. She's ugly. She never even was hot, but she's like rancid,
right? And then there's an argument to be made that they're gender inverted. Both her and John Legend, is it the guy that she's with?
I mean, she couldn't get any uglier even if she had a penis. So it's like, what difference does it make?
Right. But then she's also on a mic at a red carpet event of some sort, asking what's the craziest thing you've ever done sexually or in bed or whatever, the sexual, as far as sex goes. And he says that thing we did with the Obamas.
Well, you've got to know that for a lot of people, giving Michelle Obama a blowjob is probably the weirdest thing they've ever done. I mean, that's just a fact.
That's facts, people.
And I bet for a lot of them, they were surprised to find themselves doing that whenever it occurred. I mean, I bet they were like, whoa, this was not where I expected this to go. I thought this was Michelle Obama. You know what I mean? Surprise, surprise.
You never know what's going to come up on the season of the Gong. Joe Variety Show, season 2. Coming at you with D. Booma and the Biscuits.
Like, do you think that conversation has ever happened where somebody says, "What's the craziest thing you've ever done?" And the other person says, "Well, I gave Michelle Obama a blowjob one time," and the person says, "Oh, me too." You know what I mean? And they're both like, "Wow, we're friends now."
Now if you ever really talk about it outside of like a certain degree, that you're gonna die. I hope you had fun. You ever actually went out and talk about it at length, you're gonna die. You're gonna get Joan Rivers. Duh.
Well, fortunately for me, I don't need any plastic surgery, so.
Right, you're not going to be going in for that plastic surgery, huh?
No, I'm beautiful just the way I am.
Exactly. Don't go in for a dental appointment or anything. Yeah, video time. Season of the Gong. Now, if you have not been on any of these, and this is only the second one after the pilot episode 1. Now this is episode 2, but there is a new way that we do these things. The old Digital Dojo show was all videos, and it was kind of exhausting a little bit. And we like to have these conversations. But this brings us back old school to where we do highlight, or we spin a wheel to highlight something on the Gong event wheel. So here we go. Let's see what we get this time.
I did put the biscuit back. Somebody was
upset that there was no biscuit. Attaboy.
Yeah.
I hate thinking.
Me too. This was like a leftover that I meant to put into one of the wheels in season 1, and just I made a mistake, so it got left out. But I thought it was interesting, like the concept of computer science. You know what I mean? It's like,
I don't know what you mean. Computer science.
Well, you can get a degree in it,
right?
You can get a degree in computer science. You can get one from Harvard, Yale, MIT. Okay, and so here's 2 Ivy League professors from 2 different colleges giving the introduction to their respective computer science classes, and they're going to tell you what they think about computer science.
The idea of type theory is it's a theory of constructions. It's the things you can build, your little tinker toys that you can build with to do your math, or equivalently your programming. So type theory is a theory of constructions. From that point of view, logic is an application of type theory, because there are particular constructions which correspond to proofs. But there are other constructions, like of the natural numbers themselves, or of geometric objects, that don't correspond to proofs of particular propositions. They're just mathematical constructions. So what we're doing is we're interested in the general concept of what is a mathematical construction. Okay, and that's where the terminology calculus of constructions comes from, by the way. Okay, this is the origin. And in fact, that's why intuitionistic logic is sometimes called constructive logic, or the doctrine is sometimes called constructivism, because Brouwer emphasized the idea of a construction in the sense I'm describing. And in fact, Brouwer's dictum is the idea, the principle that mathematics, rather than mathematics being sort of a further development of logic, that is, mathematics builds on logic, that it's the other way around, that logic is just a particular corner of mathematics. And I would say, from a modern perspective, actually, it's just a particular corner of computer science, because math itself is just a corner of computer science. Okay? No, that's the idea, because computer science is based on the idea of constructions in computing. And Brouwer's point was you can build all of mathematics on the idea of construction, which is the idea of computer program. So really, it's all computer science. Okay? Computer science is the queen of sciences, if you ask me. Okay? It used to be people thought it was math, but it's not. Okay? It's actually computer science.
Welcome you to this course on computer science. Actually, that's a terrible way to start. Computer science is a terrible name for this business. First of all, it's not a science. It might be engineering, or it might be art. Or we'll actually see that computer, so-called science, actually has a lot in common with magic. And we'll see that in this course. So it's not a science. It's also not really very much about computers. And it's not about computers in the same sense that physics is not really about particle accelerators. And biology is not really about microscopes and petri dishes. And it's not about computers in the same sense that geometry is not really about using surveying instruments.
I like the second guy better.
Well, yeah, the second guy was much more pragmatic about the realities of computer science. So, but I'll just say, if you take the totality of what those guys are saying, right, it is that math and logic are pieces of computer science, which is the queen of sciences, which itself is simply magic. Is more associated with magic than it is with either science or computers. So, I mean, that is people who have degrees from MIT, you know what I mean? Or people who have degrees from Yale. These are the people that Sabrina is talking to whenever Sabrina comes up, you know what I mean? Is the people who have gone through and gotten degrees in computer science, but have been schooled along the way that what they're really doing is magic. And I mean, that's overt. That's at MIT. That's the explanation of what computer science is practically being used for. And when you realize, like, when you listen to what Sabrina says and you read the things that Sabrina points out and that you guys talk about when she's on your show, it's like, okay, computer science, if you're going to take it as a science or as a technological sort of industry, is 50 or 100 years more advanced than our perspective of it commercially. Everything is a sensor. There's an internet of things. There's an internet of bodies. You know, we all live in this synthetic telepathy field of radiation and data acquisition. And I'm saying it's meant to look like magic. I mean, this goes back to what we were talking about with the cabin in the woods. You know, they're teaching the people that are building these computer systems to accept and embrace that what they're doing is closer to magic than it is to anything else. So that when their work product, they see it being implemented on the people in their own society here in America, on their fellow citizens, they see it being leveraged against them. They see people being tricked by it. They won't recoil from it. They'll say, well, magic tricks people. And what we do in computer science, I've been taught, is closer to magic than it is to anything else, but it's based in logic and math, so it's sound. And so I'm getting paid and my life is good and what I'm doing isn't hurting me and it isn't directly hurting people who can't be tricked by it. So the only people that are getting hurt are people that have it coming. And this is how the system kind of just perpetuates, where people agree to betray each other because they understand the nature of the betrayal and they've accepted it. It's just a magic trick.
And I think that is the majority. I think that's what's been put into at least Western culture that's spread out across anything that has to do with consumerism now with the internet, where you can buy everything online, whether it's Amazon. It used to be Alibaba. I don't know if that's still going strong, but
I think it's still going. I don't know if it's going strong. I think you could probably still buy trash there. Who knows?
Yeah, you could buy all kinds of trash and stuff like that. But it's like we also had that one. Was it Sergey Brin that was saying science isn't about science, it's about narratives?
Right, which is just meaning it's about tricking people.
Right, and computer technology is a form of magic. But
well, that's what they say at MIT anyway. I'm not an expert. I'm saying at MIT, the professors say that computer science is more like magic than it is like science, or than it has to do with computers.
Maybe the next season will be with D Hippie-san. It'll be the season of the bong.
Well, maybe it is right now.
Might be right now. Let us know, Lizarachi, when you're watching this with your homegrown. Is it the season of the gong, or is it the season of the bong? And welcome to the show, Sabrina Wallace. Yeah.
I hope Sabrina didn't see my crash out earlier.
Yeah,
don't go back. Don't go back and watch. Don't watch me get triggered. Well, it's just I don't like seeing it, because that's the type of shit that feds just love to see. You know what I mean? People saying shit like that.
Oh, I've had my moments too, where I've lost. We've had our moments where, like, that was why it was like, finally someone else got underneath the skin of the biscuit. So I think it's only been me so far.
Yeah, but those moments, you're not allowed to have them. You understand what I'm saying? The feds are waiting for everyone to have those moments. Therefore, you cannot have them. I don't really care how good it feels to type that shit out and say it. It's a mistake. That's my point. So, I mean, make the mistake somewhere else is the only thing that I'm saying.
Yeah, man, I don't regret anything. I mean, I regret that my mic was too loud when I went after Mike Gill. But I don't regret any of that, because you guys don't understand how much this asshole has been on freaking X, and he hasn't lately, thank goodness.
Bro, it was amazing to me.
Knock on wood, he just fucks off, because he basically made himself look stupid too. I got to say some of the things that I wanted to say the whole time, and I said it to his fucking face, and he can't say that I didn't, and I wasn't a coward, and he can say all that kind of stuff. He's still trying to say that stuff. I have still told, and I don't even care anymore. So I'm not saying it's off the table, but I don't even want to have the conversation anymore. But I offered multiple times on X that Mike and Stacy, just pick the platform of your choice. You control everything. I will be there and I will show up. I've got my little grease board, because I figured that Mike would just talk the whole fucking time, and I'll just write on my grease board what I want to say.
Yeah, I will. I will probably not show up. Just FYI, like
I'll just listen to nice music and hold up my fucking grease board, saying all the truths that I want to put out there.
I feel like
it was crazy here, because so what? And then we'll get. I don't want to talk about Mike anymore. But it was crazy because we hadn't technically even brought up Sabrina quite yet. I think we might have mentioned her a couple times. I mean, she comes up. I think she's doing some of the greatest work out there, if not the greatest work, to try to educate people on where we're at. But you just brought up Sabrina, and Sabrina's here. So either Sabrina was listening and she finally just chimed in, or it's like the call of the wild. It's like the call went out and Sabrina showed up.
Maybe it probably just took that long for me to say something she agreed with. Maybe.
Yeah, right. She loves you.
I got crashed out a little bit. I did get triggered.
Oscillate our thinking. It's I'm getting to the point, and because I was doing like the Grifter Shamathon, and I've talked to you about it. I'm getting kind of exhausted with going ham on these guys, because it is a lot of my energy. Now sometimes I have fun, so it can be a rewarding kind of an energy. And there are some people that have been shitting on me that have left my channel. I had somebody literally used to be in my Telegram chat, and they were on X, and they were like, they sent me a snapshot of them showing that they weren't following me anymore on X. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And they were like, I just wanted you to know that I'm not following you anymore, because you're not calling out the grifters. You're not doing what you used to do. And I'm like, that is so fucking childish.
Yeah, you're not paying attention to these fake people. You know, it's like, dude, I watched like 3 minutes of that MG show one time, and I was like, yo, these guys are so unentertaining that it's impossible to even watch them long enough to make fun of them. Like, they're unwatchable. They're the worst. It's like the worst thing I've ever seen.
And I beefed with them some of the hardest, because they pissed me off. So I don't know. I just think that they're scumbags. And I learned a lot more because of meeting. I did some shows with that Coach Mel, and we have our differences, and we haven't really communicated for a while, which is fine. I still don't know how she can still support Flynn and all that kind of stuff, but she was gonna get engaged to that freaking Jeffrey, the bigger one. So she had more information to share. Now I understand I'm getting one side of things or whatever, but when I saw the communications and I saw shit, these people are fucking scumbags. Almost all of these people I have found they're scumbags. However, I thought when I started this out, when I, and Mike Gill holds it against me because I've told the truth. What? I told the fucking truth. You're literally working with somebody that was a Q influencer and you don't shit on her. Anyways, I thought more people would come out and start exposing these people. Now maybe people get in the comments and whatnot, but I literally thought more podcasts would pop up and start exposing these people, and they didn't. And I'm like, I'm not going to keep carrying this fucking torch, man. I'm like, I'm ready to just focus. I mean, I like having fun. I like talking about this kind of stuff that we're doing the wheel, whatnot, creating community. That one with RG was really great. If you didn't catch it, and RG is doing well and he's fine. We got it handled after I had to shut down the show the other day on the Booma stream, but I am going to do more work with RG, and I'm excited. I like that guy. I think he's great. I want to hear from people in the community, and that's what this has all been about. I'd rather do that. I have a whole bunch of videos that I was going to post on YouTube because I've got a Derek Johnson section, I got a Gene Decode section, and I've got some of these grifters out there. But I'm at the point, because even though I have all these freaking beefs that I did with the MG show, I'm like, I don't even want to relive it. Fuck them. It's in the past.
It's just a waste of your energy and your time. And it's like kind of poison. I look at it like watching commercials. It's poison, really. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have to do it, don't do it. But with respect to RG in the show the other day, I thought that was great. And I really did empathize with him in a sense, because it can be so frustrating when you have this really complex concept in your head and you're trying to convey it to other people with the limitations of just the spoken word or even the written word. It's like, man, it's brutal, and like you and Dean and I have been facing this with this thing that we're working on, because there's so much that's in handwritten notes of mine from these last years where I've been working on, portions of it, that it's like, I want to just transfer it, you know what I mean? like a data package from me to you, so that we can be on the same page. And it's just, man, when you really run up against that limitation about something that you're passionate about and you want other people to understand, it is so frustrating, and he's already had so many frustrations in life. But I don't know. I thought the presentation was impressive, and JK's too, was good. It was a great show.
Yeah, JK wants to do a show. He said if we wanted to do it justice, we need to do at least 6 hours. And I'm like, no, bro, we're not going to do 6 hours. If it came to be
not in one go. I mean,
but JK, I like JK and stuff that he has, but yes, RG is doing good. And the next show, so I thought it was really good for him to kind of introduce the subject and talk about it. But like you're saying, there's certain limitations. Like his brain is already so far ahead, not that he's in a hierarchy of greater than or whatever, not thinking like that, but where he's at in the process of him going through this information and the things that he sees when he has this vision that he has to creating, whether it's the clothing and some of the other stuff that he has in mind to try to help humanity and leave his mark or whatever it is. Not that that's the whole point, but I got a passion for this. And so listening to him talk, he got to speak to it a little bit. People got a taste of that. This is a guy that, had a mountain biking accident, and he is now a quadriplegic, and he is still utilizing his time to the best of his ability, and God has him here for a reason. So what we're going to do next time is I think we're going to do a pre-recorded show, and then we'll premiere it live, but where we'll do it more strategic, and he'll get to hit the pieces the way that he wants to hit them, and then there'll be no interruptions. They got a little weird there at the end too, which it is what it is. That's Booma stream before you. But I thought he did a really great job, so I'm looking forward, and there's more people in the community that have a lot to offer. I also also want to be able to highlight people that have, you know, things in the community, like, you know, Sabrina and her husband have their like clothing and their merch and stuff like that. We got Clarity that's got stuff. Solana does the free biofield classes and stuff like that. Crystal, if you get your Etsy store going, there's that. But then Hillbilly Heart, they have their Etsy store, which I bought a bunch of stuff from, and that makes for great gifts. And then they also just have awesome, cool stuff you won't find in a lot of places. I want to highlight everybody that is in this community and is participating and has something that they want to share, and that is part of what this is for me. I never wanted to just be me here making videos and whatnot. I did the focus for a long time, like I said, was going after the grifters, but I got so tired of watching that material. And I think I am going to do a watch party, because I'm never going to really be done with Gene Decode, because of what I know, how evil that son of a bitch is, and the people that are still caught in that cult. I'm not going to be done with some of these guys, so don't think it's all going to go away. But as far as like watching their material like nonstop, to get clips, to
save yourself from it. Just don't, man. Just don't. Yeah. I'm glad to hear it. I think that's very wise. I think you're doing yourself a favor with that. It's poison.
Right.
It's meant to be poison. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's good. You know, with respect to what you were saying about RG and the community in general, that's one of the things that we're going to address with this project that we're working on. At least in one facet, you know, but a couple industries which are huge. But really, I want to do something that's more holistic, because I think that one of the real challenges for Americans right now going forward, regardless of, you know, whether we just sort of get weird status quo or if we get like back to the constitutional republic or something in between, the pipeline from passion to product in the United States of America for people that want to start businesses is fraught with corruption and pitfalls that are like legacies of systems that simply don't need to exist anymore. I mean, let me tell you, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and every other multinational or simply domestic bank that is, you know, invested in the Federal Reserve, invested in the Federal Reserve note, is so obsolete, completely and utterly obsolete. There is absolutely unequivocally no excuse for those organizations to exist whatsoever at this time. And I don't mean because they all operate in violation of Executive Orders 13818 and 13848, and they all employ people that are compromised by the Jeffrey Epstein network, like Jess Staley and Jamie Dimon, but to be sure, plenty more other ones. Not only for those reasons, simply because the work product that they offer, the work product that banks offer, and I mean the utility that they offer, is simply obsolete. You can get all of that from systems that are better. I mean, and they exist and they're able, but you know, you get punished if you try to do it. And I think there is a way to blaze a trail to sort of build a pipeline, and we're going to do it. You're going to see it happen. I mean, we're going to document this thing. We're going to build a business that provides a product that I think people will be entertained by, and that will be one hell of a poison pill for all of the people that I despise, for all of the systems that I despise, for all the people in the systems that Dean and that Dorian and myself are opposed to in practice for a variety of reasons that are in some cases, you know, more important than just the fact that they're no longer useful, like banks. And banks are worse than not useful. I mean, they're generally corrupt and evil institutions as it is. But I'm saying I think that there's really a path for us to do something that's going to serve the community and maybe show people that, you know, there's ways to do things that aren't supposed to be, that have never existed before. We can do things that are going to change people's perspective and are going to be a bone in the throat of these people that have been betraying us and continue to do so.
Right. I hope you people are actually listening. Like, something's being worked on. You're just getting to hear a little glimpse about it.
And it's been worked on. I mean, we've been working on it for a while, and I've been designing this thing for many years on paper, you know, literally entirely on paper, to avoid all of the pitfalls of electronic communications and other pitfalls which are associated with exposing any type of intellectual property. But I want to say that, like, we've already incorporated everything, you know, so we've made quite a bit of progress, and I want the people here to see as it plays out, because I appreciate everybody here, and I think that everybody here is going to appreciate perhaps what we're doing, and I think that they're going to appreciate the ways which we're going to allow people to participate, and hopefully we're going to turn it into something where being a shareholder is going to be worthwhile for everybody in the long run. But it's something that we're passionate about, and I think we're going to build a pipeline and a product that other people can hopefully use the pipeline, and hopefully they'll want to use the product too.
Absolutely. Big things are coming. Let's get little glimpses. But yes, and man, I see a bunch of you that I you know, I don't know how we'll do this, but basically what I want to do, basically, like when I do like a Booma streama, if we get a collection of everybody that has stuff that they do, like I see Hope creating stuff to help survivors of human trafficking. I love that. I'm not asked. I don't want any like. I'm just going to share your links, and we can go through them. And if we find out any of you are feds, then you're off the list. But if we want to, as a community, create a list of what everybody has, and people want to support awesome causes of people in this community, I don't want nothing. I'll just share the links down below, like Booma Streamas. Those are like basically community chats, if you will. So that's exciting. So
I like how somebody in it must have been the YouTube chat said that I got gonged. I'm thinking, like, I get gonged all the time. Sometimes I actually accept that I've been gonged, and sometimes I just ignore the heck out of it. But it happens on a regular basis. Like
last season, I let Biscuits ramble a couple times, and then I said, I can't remember how it went down, but basically you kind of like reprimanded me. You're like, bro, it's your show.
Yeah, it is. I saw it's like, are you sitting there letting me annoy you? I mean, it's your show.
So he was like, just gong me and we'll freaking do it. Yeah, Daniel, I'm sure you have a lot of questions if you still think that Derek Johnson's telling you the truth. And I'm not clowning you or anything like that. I get it. I felt for a lot of these people. He is a grifting fool, and he's a liar. Yeah, look at that link. I shared the link and I tagged you in it. You don't have to listen to my stuff. There's a bunch of links down below the videos, though. There's a website, if you're talking about Derek Johnson here, a guy that actually is a veteran that did 20 plus years in continuity of government and did this website. Him and another gentleman, another veteran or another active military, created this website, and they debunk like everything that Derek Johnson has said. And Derek Johnson and a lot of the Q stuff, various things, they have harmed a lot of veterans in this country because the veterans were like, that's the dumbest thing we've ever heard. Like, that's not what is happening, the way that it has been spun to be some magical, like everybody's taken out and it's just pantomime and all this stuff. But the things that Derek Johnson has said, the kind of stuff where he acts like the wars aren't really happening, that it's all just beautiful optics while like Palestine and children are being murdered. And it's just, that's the kind of stuff that Gene did, and it's very traumatic. And you'll just at least get another take, and you'll get things that are broken down in a way that comes from a person that at least had experience in that. But there's I'm not saying anybody has the gospel or anybody's telling the truth. This world's a fucking crazy place. There's a lot of nefarious people in all forms of government, military, and all that kind of stuff. However, all I have found when it comes to various people like Derek Johnson, Gene Decode, Nino, Wano Savin, they are con artists, and they just believe if they can con you and make money, then why not? Because that's what everybody does in this world, right?
Well, I guess if it's all magic tricks and you get tricked, joke's on you, I suppose. That's their philosophy, right?
That's a lot of people online. That's a lot of their philosophies, and I've even found some of these guys that do expose, like places like X, that expose a lot of these guys. I've even been told, like, chill out, man. They're just trying to make some money. Now they'll go after them hard, but it's like a game to these people, even the ones that are calling out people, where it's like, no, man, I'm in this like for real. Like, I'm in this for keeps. Like, you're either a fucking con artist, lying piece of shit, only doing this for money, and that's what grifting is when you're fucking using even some truths, but your whole purpose is to just fucking make money. You're a fucking grifter. I'm in this for a real purpose. I want to fucking end this shit, this fucking corruption, to at least a degree where we fucking have. Well, maybe we could call a republic again. Good Lord.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't pay me to work for the federal government. You can't pay me to work for the Freemasons. You can't pay me to work for Mossad. There is not any amount of money. You know what I mean? So people be like, oh, it's just business or something. You know what I mean?
Yes,
it's like, come on.
I hate that, man. Like,
come on.
When people say that kind of crap, dude, I was so disheartened because there was one guy that I really did like for a while on some of the material that he was exposing, because he was exposing guys like the MG show and stuff like that. But I was going hard against him. I was making Pinata Farms, exposing a bunch of bullshit. And he's like, damn, bro, like, maybe you should chill out a little bit. These guys are just trying to make money too. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
and I fucking was just like, at that point, I was like, not sharing any more of your shit. I give no fucks about what you have to say about anything. This is not a game for me. This is not a fucking game. Like, I am in this, like, this isn't good for my health. I'm not making a bunch of money. That was never the point of this whole thing. It was to better humanity and to fucking actually try to, like, help of the world and children of the world. Like, this human trafficking shit, really eating babies. Yes, they fucking eat babies. Gosh.
Yes. Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm always saying, like, look, man, you've got to remedy the treason, because people need to realize that it's not a game. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a game, man.
There's Bjorn.
Nice. Sabrina, are you here? We landed on you again. Oh my goodness. Hold up. All right. Let me get the volume on.
Let me give you a statistical probability question here. It's that every one of these we've done, the Sabrina says, gets landed on. So it's 100% of the time so far, 3 times in a row.
Man, dude, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
You're not human to them.
What you doing with all those parts? So there is hope in humans. If you're one of the human augmenteds for 15 years in conferences at universities, and you're scheduled to be the new saviors, superhuman. So we're all waiting for whatever you're going to do next. And then, oh, here we are. I don't know. Could be. All I'm trying to do is ensure that those of you out there that know, because you've been studying for 2 years or whatever, that you understand that these people have zero impetus to tell you anything. You're not human to them. You're a set of cells to be exploited, exploiting your fat tissue for storage, faster data transfer. Fat tissue, faster data transfer. Muscle tissue, better for storage. So you're a walking hard drive, or a beacon point, or a relay point, or you are a node on a network to control another body area network local to where you are, or you're a set of synthetic biological cells that are epigenetically close enough to whoever's augmented around you to siphon your cells wireless drugging style for whatever their endocrine system needs at your bioelectric homeostasis cost. 30 grand for a jump drive. So they have no reason and get to tell you anything. What you doing with all those parts?
Yep. Sabrina says, baby.
I mean, that was, there's was it Samuel Clemens that said brevity is the soul of wit? if you, well, I mean, you know, I'm not really, Samuel Clemens has got problems. So, but nevertheless, the statement rings true. The ability to pack that much information into, you know, a fairly short statement is a unique and rare skill set. And people should listen to that, because if you can listen to that little YouTube short until you can infer and extrapolate what that means in your day-to-day life, what all of those things that Sabrina just said mean in practice, if you simply treat them as axiomatic in every aspect of your daily life, you will start to understand that the things that you are doing out of habit are leaning into all of those systems. Your habits were considered when the systems were built around you to maximize profitability, to maximize data extraction, to maximize the impact of touches for control. Like, treat these truths that people tell you when you discern for yourself that they must be true as axiomatic. Dig into that and look at your reality and start to say, who am I helping with every action that I take? I mean, this is how you make change. It's by making changes in the things that you do, which first leads the way. And so that's you know, why I want to come back to this project that we're talking about. Like, I really do believe that there is a path, that there is a way to take the things that are forced upon you and in an elegant fashion redirect as much of the energy that you can into the places where you want it to go. It's kung fu. I mean, that's what life is. It's a constant balancing of the energies that are coming at you with the energies that you want to put out there. And the reality of the situation is that we have had a nodes on a network, blockchain bullshit, you know, Paragon spy software and Palantir and, you know, modern sort of feudal esoteric cult system rams down our throats, and the infrastructure for ramming it down our throats is all around us, and it's live and it's operational. And we are either going to take the intrinsic power that we have and the authority that we're entitled to as she calls them, free range humans, which are given to us by God. And I believe we are compelled in the name of Christ to do something about what is wrong with this world or die trying. And I don't mean in combat, die trying. I mean pushing back against whatever facet of that system meets you. And it's going to be worse for some people than it is for other people. And for the people that it's worse for, I'm sorry. And frankly, I would rather it be me than someone else, I guess, that's in that worst type of position, because I've come to this point and like, I want to be at the bleeding edge of something, I suppose. And the most important thing, I think, to me is, I mean, the greatest accumulated betrayal that I have accrued is that I don't live in the constitutional republic that I was told I did for my entire life. That I had to go to school and be taught lies by people that were being made useful idiots of, or who themselves were complicit in a scam of education. And I got forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance and believe in the wars and all of those things and to contribute to it. And so I say, for me, because it overlaps so much with stopping what is happening to kids in this country, with bringing a real light of exposure so that everyone can see what we've all been tricked into being complicit in, and so that we can then all see who is actually on the side of that horrible beast. Because once we have clearly picked sides, then I'm telling you, that's when it's on. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it is to define which side everyone is on. That's like the most important thing to do right now. It's like, I want this thing to be very binary. I want it to be the Freemasons and the Jesuits versus the Americans, you know, because I know that fundamentally it's the Freemasons and the Jesuits versus the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. So I want everyone in this country to understand that it's the Freemasons and the Jesuits and the Kabbalah practitioners and the Scientologists and the mystery schools and the traitors against us and our country. And we got to all start just acting like that. You know what I mean? And calling it out and saying what needs to be said and saying, do something about what I've said. Do something about what my position, you know what I mean?
Right.
And there needs to be a pipeline for people to take their passion and create products in spite of their beliefs in that regard. Because right now, I think you ain't going to be running a successful giant business. You're not running $100 million business in this country if you are screaming and shouting about remedying the treason and stopping the child trafficking. You know what I mean? You aren't practicing law if you're doing that. You're not running for office. You're not running the bank. You're not running the research department. You're not doing any of those things if you're also screaming about remedying the treason. But it's not because those things are mutually exclusive. It's just because there doesn't seem to be a way to do it yet and keep your job and keep your trajectory. You lose your trajectory when you start keeping it real about those things, you know? And people with families and people with like ambitions and people who have worked their whole lives and dedicated it to some industry only to be betrayed like we all have. I mean, that inertia is a crippling, devastating thing to let go of. I know from personal experience. It's hard to watch all of that drift off as you float in the emptiness with nothing. But there is a path to rebuild this country from within and force them to overtly destroy what we build because it's good and they're evil and they're okay with letting everybody see that. And if it comes to it, then that's fine. But that's the gambit that I think we all have to try to play, is to put your effort into building something that they might want to destroy, but if they do destroy it, everyone's going to see. And it's just going to further make it clear who is on which side. Because I feel like progress has been made, and we just got to grind and keep pushing it. More and more pressure. Right. That's how I feel.
And I do think that there are a lot more people awake enough to understand how corrupt everything is. Like I said, going into a doctor's office and having a nurse ask me that was kind of wild. And then it even carried into my doctor and stuff like that. I was asking about Adrenochrome, and he was looking it up and stuff like that. And we had a little bit of a discussion, and then we got into the idea that Biscuits and I had talked about, where maybe they're putting other drugs into it, and it's a satanic thing or whatnot. Anyways, more people are awake than what people realize. It's just the reason I've gone after these grifters as hard as I have in the past is because they are pacifying people. So when you find people that are pacifying people and making you think some magic fairy dust, white hats and stuff like that is taking care of everything behind the scenes, less action is taken. So when I listened to your Biscuits, and that was like an amazing thing, that the whole thing, like, clip that, should definitely be shared.
I don't know how to clip that. Are you telling me to clip that? Because I don't know how. Oh, okay.
It's a feature.
Oh, really?
It'll be clipped. Yeah, you just say clip that. Now we're gonna have a couple clips, but it'll just give me a starting point and ending point, and then I can create it.
I'm sorry you told me that. That's creeped me out that it's sitting there listening like Alexa the whole time.
Everything is sitting here listening and whatnot.
It's just another layer, isn't it? It's just another layer.
Yeah, but Sabrina talks about this a lot. Human to human betrayal. What do you got? You got a lot of elites that treat us like cattle, treat us like goyim. You got a mentality that's a dog eat dog world, like I'm talking about, like a guy that I actually looked up to that was calling out the grifters, and I thought doing it for the right reasons, but then I found out that he's just playing a game in his mind. Well, all this is just he has one side of the game and they have another side of the game, and everybody plays the game and everybody gets theirs. No, man, that's not the game that I'm playing. We got to lead by example. We got to teach the next generation not to think of their fellow human beings as something that can be taken advantage of for your gain. And a lot of people believe that. A lot of people that are going through these educations, some of them might not know exactly what they're doing, but they might have an idea that they're participating in something that is not exactly what's being sold, and they just decide to not allow themselves to understand it or research it or look into it or question it, and they just do their fucking job, which is the problem that we saw through the whole COVID scandemic. We got to teach people, man, that, and especially the young people, to not treat people as if they're lesser than. Now, I have a hard time with a lot of people because I think the world is made in a way that it makes people easily triggered. There are a lot of belief systems that clash. They want us at each other's throats. I have a lot of issues there. However, we can still lead by example. And I'm still going to call out mother effers. Don't think that's going to end. I'm just done going through all the material of a lot of these assets that I've already exposed. I feel to a degree that if people still want to follow them, then that's just your freedom of choice, I guess. But when it comes to human and human betrayal and a lot of the stuff that we're pointing out here, man, I think a lot of people are awake. Now we just have to find the tools in order to empower people to act on actually going up against a system that is a beast.
Well, the components, the component pieces, the constituent parts are all there. They're all distributed. They're just, no one's building machines to do the things that need to be done. I mean, let me give you an example. We talked about this the other day. I know for a fact that there is a corporation which is operating and providing service to people to real humans who can fill out order form templates to request services and submit them, have the template evaluated, processed, have a work service, consulting type service provided, have a marketing campaign developed and initiated, executed for your business. You'll be invoiced, you'll pay for it, they'll have customer service, and there's not a human being that works at the company. It's incorporated. Every position is filled and staffed by an AI program. It is a company that is entirely digital, algorithmic. There are no humans that work there. It pays taxes. It earns revenue. If it gets sued, it has a lawyer on retainer. I mean, this exists. And what I mean when I say that is that because that exists, there are constituent components that exist that can be built for purpose. And the problem with the cryptocurrency space, as with the banking space, as with many other spaces in the entertainment industry, etc., is that it is comprehensively, I mean, unequivocally comprised of organizations, all of which are built and designed specifically to make one person or one position very wealthy at the expense of all of the customers. This is how every organization is structured, because an organization necessarily must meet corporate requirements in terms of profitability year over year in order to be able to maintain its federal employee ID number, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these procedures and whatnot that are regulations, you might say, but also stipulations that are just inherent because of the market and the nature of doing business in the United States of America. All of these things conspire together in the same way that the environment conspires to force organisms which live within it to adapt genetically. And corporations have adapted to meet the pressure, the selection pressures of the environment, like I just described, and to also make one person rich. And I say to you that all of the components are there to build something that serves to make the product better year over year. You can integrate in the same way that you can integrate algorithms to do a job and completely automate an entire corporation. You can build, because I have written and created proprietary algorithms that can create something that serves not to make one person rich, but serves to continuously improve the thing itself for the service of whatever it's designed to serve. And I tell you that we can design something, and I have, but I mean to say we can implement something that serves its founders and that serves the product. And that's that. It can be done, it can be built, and it simply needs to, it just needs to be built. And that's what we're going to do.
It's going to happen. All right, let's hit this one more time. That was awesome. We got, as Sabrina says, that was some epic information you just dropped on us, Biscuits. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I just, I'm glad that people appreciate it. It seems to me like the obvious conclusion, but I guess maybe it's not. I don't know.
There are things that we can do. We don't need to be feeling helpless or like that we're black pilling or anything like that. There's things that we can do, and we are doing them. It's just going to take some time, people. Oh, I thought you were going to get rid of the V right there, bro.
Yeah, that's a crazy one to come up with, honestly, given the conversation that we were just having, because it's so relevant as a segue. Utility, in my mind, people think of like electricity and water bills when you hear utility. But to me, utility is food, water, shelter. Because when I think of utility, I think of the things that we struggle for in order to survive when we have nothing else left. These are the things which are utilitarian to life: food, water, and shelter. And competition for utilitarian needs, competition for utility amongst humans, amongst Americans, between Americans, is something that should be eliminated from our country entirely. And people might say that this is like a communist ideal or something, but it is not a communist ideal by any means. It is, I'm simply saying that in conjunction with, of course, not having people here that are illegal citizens, which is retarded. There should not be anybody here that is an illegal alien. I mean, it's self-evident that they're here illegally. My goodness. I'm saying utility competition is something that happens in the environment between animals to figure out which animal should exist and which animal should cease to exist. To compete with our fellow Americans for food, clean water, and protection from the weather and the environment is counterproductive. I mean, it's absurd. It's a thing that we should, I'm not saying we mandate it, but I'm saying we should always strive to get away from competing with each other for food. I mean, right. It's such a crazy thing to say that competing for food is the same thing as competing for market share with a product that does the same thing as yours, and presumably one of which is better, right? I mean, to say that competing for food is the same as competing for profits and should be treated the same, and that everybody has to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and see if they can get lunch tomorrow, is it inviting exactly the type of crime that the CIA has been trying to install in this country since they started bringing crack in to the inner cities, you know, because it's almost treasonous, I think, that people in the government have not just addressed this issue head on. But it's because meaningless, arbitrary competition, which is unnecessary, is profitable. Sure, yes, of course. Well,
and the corporations and the big money people, they're the ones that are paying for the universities to do the studies that hold up products that aren't necessarily safe for us, but they want to push them because they have their reasons. I mean, get into pharmacia and all that kind of stuff, but corporations, like we were finding, like when I did those shows with Zach on this Zeolite stuff, which is still a thing, and there's still people out there that are like really pissed, not happy with us, but they won't step up to the plate. But you look at a lot of the studies that they'll hold up, they're peer-reviewed studies, and you find out who's behind the funding of these studies. It's just these freaking corporations, these people that have the money are the ones paying to hold up a lie because they got the results in one study that they hold up as their proof. It's that's the kind of stuff that it's like, if it is not healthy and the best for humanity that you can come up with, then fuck off. Yeah. It's all profit. It's all money.
Yeah, it's not. That's what I mean. And this is the thing in the pharmaceutical industry that I despise so much, is that the way to do it right is simply to focus on continuous improvement. That's it. You will make mistakes. Things will go wrong. Just never lie about them. Always address them, you know, in a forthright, honest, and good faith fashion. Document it and move on, and you'll never have any trouble unless you're trying to do something wrong, or unless the government is trying to do something wrong, both of which unfortunately happen frequently in the pharmaceutical industry. But if both of those things don't happen, you can manufacture things that are people. You know,
people. I mean, if people call out links as being something that's spam or whatever, that'll alert me to it. That's why I spend as much time as I do with the community. I'm sorry to cut you off, Biscuits, but yes, if you have your links, go ahead. Feel if you can bless somebody with what you're doing, then I encourage people to share their stuff. That's what I want to do here. This is a community. It's not about any one or two or whatever people. Right now, this is the season of the Gong, and we're hearing from Biscuits, which is a rare person. And if you understood what Biscuits has lost in his fight for standing for principle and standing for some of these things that he is talking about, he's got a lot of wisdom and he's got a lot of passion. And there are things that are in the works that only a brain like Biscuits, I would say. I wouldn't believe in it as strongly as I do if it wasn't coming from this man. And we're imperfect people. We make mistakes. Stuff happens. Yes. But you're not going to find another Biscuits. And no, he was not just on Archaics. For the person that asked.
What is that?
Have you ever heard of Jason, I think is his name? But he has a channel called Archaics.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you won't find Biscuits anywhere else.
That's true, I think. It's an exclusive.
I'm not holding you hostage.
No, it's by my choice. Yeah, to be clear, it's my choice.
Right.
And it's, you know, like eventually, probably it'll be inevitable as this thing progresses, you know, that we'll both be talking with other people, or perhaps on other platforms or stuff. Although I would hope that maybe we never have to, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I think that we could, the whole point is to do it with only people. I mean, I'm not interested in a business that's run by all AI, to be clear. I was just using that as an example. The point is, you know, real humans participating in something that is, you know, that is a functioning business that profits enough to pay salaries, which is where you should stop when it comes to a functioning business. You know what I mean? You should certainly paying a salary that allows a person to have a living wage, to meet those utility costs, and to exceed utility costs, to build up wealth over time. A livable salary is a requisite for a successful business, but a business is only supposed to make profits and pay salaries and gain value. And if you're making a lot of profits, then you reinvest, you hire more people, you build more infrastructure, one or the other, or you admit that you don't believe in your product. I mean, this is like one of the things that truly went wrong with America, is when big companies or when small companies become big companies because they're successful, and then they realize that the cash that they've accrued is better utilized investing in a fucking bank or an insurance company than it is investing in themselves. That is when you get betrayed by your employer. Often, if you ask me, is when they say, okay, we've got all this cash, rather than invest in the company, rather than invest in ourselves like we have been doing to get here.
Right.
Now we're going to invest in the stock market because the Dow Jones is at 50,000. You know what I mean? This is the like corporate betrayal, which is ubiquitous in the United States, and because everybody just wants to get their company big enough that they can sell themselves off to some gigantic conglomerate. Eventually, Larry Fink is,
You're not being gaslit. I swear, Biscuits hasn't been on there unless he's cheating on me and he just won't admit it.
Well, listen, I was dead for a little while inside a Freemason hospital, so it's entirely possible that I've been cloned and I don't know about it. But there should not be, as far as I know, a clone of me anywhere. And there's definitely
people
not.
Constantly say they've seen people that look just like me. I swear they've cloned me and they got me all over the place. So it's a thing. I mean, also the hair and the beard and stuff. When I was working at Starbucks, people would always call me Jesus, and it was always kind of awkward. But at the same time, like, what does John Q. Simeon say? Well, who's the white Jesus that he always says? Borgia. What's the name of the guy?
Borgia.
Is Borgia the name of the guy that
Borgia?
They always...
I think Borgia was you're saying the model for the
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
Well, what's the full name? You remember?
I don't remember.
Right.
I want to say I can't remember.
I can't either. But he has his old saying because he pushes the Black Jesus stuff or whatnot. But it's I am like kind of like the prototype for what they have pushed out there in a way, the white Jesus. And I don't think Jesus was white. I don't think he was. I did not think he was black, but I think he had some darker skin than a white person.
Presumably, he wouldn't be stuck being any color. I mean, this has always been the thing that's kind of annoyed me about that argument. It's like, you're saying this guy would walk across water to come over and see me, but he's stuck with whatever skin tone he started the trip with. I mean, I don't think so, dude. It's just like, who cares? You know what I mean? This is one of those things. It's a who cares argument. I would put it in the same argument as the flat Earth,
right?
The little season. All of these arguments, I would say, are in the. Listen, if you want to go and argue about that with whomever until you guys come up with the answer, you can come back and let me know, and I'll tell you why. You could neither of you come up with the answer from arguing, because if you could, the argument would be over. The argument is eternal because it can't be won in an argument. So just stop. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. Caesar Borgia.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the prototype that John Q. Simeon always brings up. What's up, RG? How you doing, brother? Looking forward to doing some more projects with you. But yes, everybody can see that RG is doing well. I mean, I hope you're doing well. You're here. But we got things taken care of that night, so no worries there. But man, this has been there's been a lot in here that maybe went over some people's heads. I hope you understand what Biscuits is saying when he was talking about some of the stuff that's in the works that we have that will come out and roll out in its time, how it's supposed to. But you got a glimpse of an idea that's being worked on. Perhaps you would say behind the scenes, he's got ideas that he's been working on for a long time, and we're starting to implement them. And then, like I said, I want to bring this into more of the community. So if you have a product, if you have an Etsy store, if you have something that helps make, something that the community would want, then I want to be able to share that. I want none of it. I don't want any, percentages or anything like that. I just want a community that thrives on supporting what we have going on here. That's the point of it. It's not about making money. And what Biscuits was talking about is, what if somebody actually created a business that was what it says it was or is? It's like these people that come up with these new corporations and these new brands and all this kind of stuff that comes out and acts like it's going to be like something for the people or beneficial to its employees and all this kind of stuff. And it's always beholden to the shareholders, or it's beholden to the CEOs and the guys that are in the board. What if they actually did it in a way that it should be done?
Yeah. What if a business was conceived to last a certain amount of time and then stop paying anyone? Yeah. And the salaries are all everything can be decided up front, is what I'm saying, algorithmically. It's all possible, because you can build a business without even a person. You can build it with all AI. It's been done. And I say all these tools that are being used against us have pieces and parts that can be repurposed. They can be taken as inspiration, or simply taken because they're open source and cobbled together, not cobbled together, just put together, integrated into a system that I think will be able to do things that might surprise people, and and might inspire people to do the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. In case RG wasn't here earlier, I want to repeat, I did appreciate his presentation the other night. I thought it was good, and I hope to hear more, because I understand it's tough when you have a lot of stuff trapped in your head. It's tough, man. Somebody was posting earlier, how do I sleep? And I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, it's not easy with a lot of ideas and information in your head and stuff that you want to get done, and you want to get it done now, but it's going to take a lot of time. Having patience is not easy. I don't know what you mean here, man. Are you getting ready to do something? What's MJ12? You're talking about Majestic 12, are you? That gets into a whole nother rabbit hole, if you will. But yeah, I'd actually like to see Biscuits. I'm not that you need to go do like a bunch of different platforms. I'd like to see Sabrina Wallace and Biscuits do a show. I'd like to see. I mean, I would do it with all.
I'd be cool with that for sure.
I'm looking forward to that. We've dabbled in that discussion, and I want to see that.
Well, we're going to be doing some more shows with Dean, for sure.
I was about to say we need to get Dean. I was going to say we want to bring Dean back on, but he just started a freaking full-time job, and he's got 2 jobs now, so he's a little bit more limited. However, like I told him when we were talking, I was like, "You're young, you can freaking not get that much sleep and still function." I used to do it, man, back in the day. Oh God, I'd party and then I'd do an open at Starbucks at 4:15 a.m. But I'd be up until like 2 parties.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Get a little nap and then get up, dude, and then want to die after my shift.
when I think about how I worked and drank and did all, what I mean, just how I went nonstop when I was in my 20s and even my 30s. I'm just exhausted just from the thought of it. You know what I mean? It's like, holy crap.
I hear you, man. But we'll get Dean back on here, and then I want to make a Biscuits and the Sabrina show happen. Sabrina, she proved in the last show. She ran that whole thing as far as the StreamYard aspect of it goes. She gets it. So yeah, Sabrina, have us on your show. Let's do a little. Let's start mixing it up a little bit.
Oh my gosh! I mean, you wouldn't have to run the turntables. That would be something for you.
I know. I do like the whole chat thing, but it also my ADHD, because of the way I do this,
I was going to say,
that healthy. I don't see anybody else that could even do this.
To be perfectly candid with you, I suspect you might be a problematic guest if you didn't have all that bullshit going on to distract yourself with. Frankly, you might need all of that going on.
Well, I went on with that 7 C's, dude, and then obviously that has not gone so well in the more recent times. But when I went on there, I was cursing like a freaking sailor. It was weird. But I didn't have anything in front of me. It was just me talking. It was just and when I watched it back, I was like, dang, I think I was trying to break the Guinness Book of World Records for the amount of bad words I said. I don't know what the heck that was all about. But it's kind of one of those things where you're just hanging out with one of your homies or whatever. And at the time, I thought 7 C's was cool. Not so much that, whatever you think of them, you can think of them. But when I'm hanging out with guys, and it's just man, this is how I used to do. We hang around, we pass around the bong, hanging out in the living room, and it was like fuck the world,
Listen,
man. This is where it's at. It's like fuck the society, fuck the government, fucking pay taxes. It's like, you know, you just get into it.
I've got a bit of a foul mouth, as you know, and I have that foul mouth in board meetings. I mean, I think I probably said fuck in front of the FDA on multiple occasions. Like,
oh boy,
because when I talk, I'm just talking. You know what I'm saying? And there are some there's linguistic utility in curse words, because they provide the ability to use low context words. Just one word can do a lot of different things, and people don't tend to listen. Man, I'll tell you what, if you sit around a table with a bunch of pricks in suits that are pretending that they're important while they all actually do nothing and listen to themselves talk, and then you start talking and just immediately the first thing out of your mouth is basically fucking this or bullshit that, everybody's kind of like, whoa, maybe I should pay attention to what this guy's about to say. And generally, in my experience, if you're in a boardroom and you're having to listen to me curse at you, the situation that you find yourself in is one where you better be listening to what I'm saying, because the fact that I'm there is going to be a real fucking problem for you if you ain't listening. And historically, that has been true. So it's good. I've always found cursing at people is good to get them to, listen up sometimes. But certainly you can overdo it, because it kind of takes the piss out of it after a while if you do it all the time. There's your balance, I guess.
Well, I told this story a long time ago, so I'll keep it brief, but this is a fun story. So I graduated the class after this fiery redhead that we hung out all the time in this group that we had, partying and stuff like that. And she had a mouth on her already, but she went into the Coast Guard, and like I was still in school as a senior getting ready to graduate. And she came back and she brought this VHS tape for us to watch of her training. And it was all their trainings of like her class, her group or whatever. And one of the trainings was they had to get sprayed in the face, right in the eyes with pepper spray, and then handle the situation. And they encouraged people to use fuck and shit and bad language. It gets people's attention, and it sets a tone, and it shows them means business, and it gets their fucking attention, and you know that they mean business. Well, everybody kind of did that, and they did it in their own way, but they did it, they're like all trying to keep their eye on this person as they moved around and tell them to calm down and get down and all this kind of stuff. Well, anyways, it gets to her, and I'm telling you, out of all the ones we watched, and she was like the second to last to go, and we watched a lot of them, she was just spit fire and bad words, cunt, motherfucker, like, hey, bitch, all this stuff. And it was just like, oh my God. And the instructors were all just laughing their freaking asses off. And she did it. She barely could do it, though. She's like holding her eyes. She's like, fuck this church, fuck you, get down, and I can see you right there, you're right there. Because they had to keep an eye open, and they had to be able to manage the situation. Moral of the story is that they were instructed in cases of emergency to use language that is powerful, and the F word and foul language would be useful in those scenarios.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, look, I'm telling you, dude, it's amazing. Like in life or death situations, you would think that saying the least amount of words possible is always the right solution. But a lot of times you have to say the right words. And sometimes it's like you got to motherfuck somebody to get them to pay attention and do what needs to be done. Or else they're just going to sit there and like wait for it to get serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it depends on who, and then it also depends on the room, and it depends on who you're trying to reach. But like when I was working in youth corrections, I mean, obviously I wasn't doing this in front of everybody, but it was just like, when you're trying to get a motherfucking kid to get his ass in his cell so you can close that door, and he's got his because they got those slippers, that they freaking have in there. I mean, if you don't know that they, had slippers, like these rubbery fucking things, and they put it in front of the freaking steel door so you couldn't close it. Now, you're not really supposed to put your hands on kids, like unless it's been known that they have to be handled. But like, man, tell that motherfucker to get back, and sometimes they'll respect you more. It is what it is. This world's an interesting one, but every situation's different. Sometimes a good old F-bomb will be very beneficial. And on that note, this will be the final gong. We're not going to spin the wheel, Biscuits. I want you to end the show with the most epic ending of a show that has ever happened in the world of podcasting.
Well, I don't know if I can meet that. That's brutal.
No,
That's
you
brutal
can't. That's why I said it.
That's brutal to lay it on me like that. Now I feel compelled to go the other way and just say it's been pleasant. Sorry for my crash out.
Right. And Sarah, we love you. Sarah.
Yeah, I can't abide Fed posting, which is what I would characterize that as, because it's just bait for the feds. And so even if that's not how it was meant, I'm saying the sentence itself makes their job too easy. And I like to make their jobs impossible for the type of midwits that do it to do. So this is probably the only apology you're ever going to hear me say.
Right.
Enjoy it.
Right. This is another new. So not only was Sarah able to get under the skin of the Biscuits, which is rare, because I think I'm the only one that's been able to do that. But you got an apology.
I don't like Fed posting. I don't like it.
Right. He got triggered. You triggered him.
I was triggered.
That alone, it made it for like an epic show in a lot of ways. But then you just got an apology, so that might be the most epic because you get an apology out of the Biscuits.
Well, I'm only human.
He's only human. Oh man, but we appreciate you all. And as was alluded to in a very powerful way, many times, something is being worked on. But if you have products and you have services and stuff like that, you'd like to bring the community that would benefit the community, I am all ears. I'm a little bit more maybe available than I even should be. But you can get in the Telegram group and start chatting with people. You can, post something down maybe below this. I can't get to all the comments. Some of Sabrina's videos are blowing up, and there's so many comments. I'm just like, yeah, I'm done with that game. So I try to make myself available, though. Pretty available through, if you're on X, say hi over there, tag me, Substack, and then the Telegram, and then here when you guys show up for the live shows, it's awesome because I get to, see you guys in action, and we can talk about it, and we can make this community a better place. And that can only happen because of all of you out there. And thank you for being here, whether you're here live or whether you're watching on the replay. This was the Season of the Gong, episode 2. I look forward to the next teaser and what's going on behind the scenes with Allison and that whole Biscuits kind of brought it to him this time. So God bless you all. I'm going to give you one more of these. Appreciate you. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Bye, everyone.